It wasn't when the Dodgers beat the Reds 8-4 on Wednesday or when they beat the Reds 10-5 on Tuesday. It wasn't the final game of the regular season. It wasn't when the Dodgers clinched the NL West. And quite frankly, I don't even think it was when the Phillies clinched the NL East. But at some point in our heart of hearts, we all knew this was the likeliest outcome. It felt like these two teams were destined to meet each other in the NLDS. And as Thanos once said, I am inevitable. And so was this series. It feels like this was always meant to happen. A slugfest that will only be hampered by the fact that this series will only be allowed to go at maximum 5 games. And the fact that we're not getting a Game 7 could be sad, quite frankly. But these two teams were always destined to meet. Perhaps the two best starting rotations in the entire National League, and some could argue the two best starting rotations in all of baseball. The billion-dollar payroll versus the third highest paid team in the league. Only the New York Mets stand in between these two teams. LOL Mets. Thanks for playing this year. The billion-dollar payroll continues to be a star-studded performance on display and a star-studded lineup of talents for both of these two teams. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Christopher Sanchez, Joan Duran, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. 2 division winners. One looking to repeat as champions, to climb the mountain and plant the blue and white flag at the summit for the second consecutive year. The other looking to reverse the curse that has plagued them each of the last 3 seasons, as clinching series have evaded them, and they have spewed on championship cliches of windows closing, of an aging core, a World Series loss, an NLCS loss, an NLDS loss. They've gone in the wrong direction each of the last 3 seasons. And the setting, Citizens Bank Park, home of the greatest fans in the world, where red rally towels wave high above the heads of 43,674, none seated, whether you bought a seat or didn't. The site of an exultant Brad Lidge down on his knees, tackled to the ground by Ryan Howard, the triumph of joy, the thrill of victory. The sight of a Sedona red flag being planted in the turf as a wild card team took games 6 and 7 of an NLCS that they trailed 3-2 and 2-0. The distressful quiet, the agony of defeat. Citizens Bank Park has surely seen its share of moments, bedlam and broken, success and stunned silence. But there are no fans more deserving, no fans more eager for a parade down Broad Street with double-decker buses adorned in red and white, 26 players, coaches, staffs, families atop, a hoisted commissioner's trophy high above the head of Bryce Harper or Kyle Schwarber or Trey Turner. I firmly believe the winner of this series is going to win the World Series. This might be the toughest gauntlet of them all. To get to that moment, the Phillies, the Dodgers, they collide in a star-studded series, and it all begins tomorrow night at Citizens Bank Park. What's up, everybody, and welcome into the PHLY Phillies Podcast. Tyler Zula here, Ethan Hartley producing today's show. We are broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge, brought to you by our friends over at Bet365, and we are just over 24 hours away from that moment finally being here when the Phillies take the field once again for NLDS Game 1 between them and the LA Dodgers. This series always felt like it was going to happen, and I know I said that in the monologue, but it feels like this was always destined to be the case. These two teams, in my opinion, are the 2 best teams in Major League Baseball. One of these 2 teams are going to go home in the NLDS and watch other teams that are not as good as them go on to the NLCS and the ALCS, go on to the World Series, and perhaps lift a World Series trophy while the other sits home and watches from their couch or from St. Lucia or Barbados or Cancun or wherever you choose to vacation at the end of the year, wondering what could have been, wondering when will you get to this point again. These 2 teams, in my opinion, are the best 2 teams left in baseball. Sure, the Brewers had more wins, no question about it. The Seattle Mariners are a formidable foe in the American League with one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. The Yankees turned to a rookie last night, and he delivered for them in droves. He was excellent. We'll talk more about that. There are plenty of good teams left in baseball, but I think the 2 great teams are going to take the field on the NLDS stage for Game 1 on Saturday night at Citizens Bank Park. I cannot wait. I am more than excited. I have sat here for a week, and I said this to you on Wednesday. I said, Monday was nice. Monday was a little bit of a reprieve from covering 162 games of baseball over the last 6.5 months. It was nice to get to sit at home and enjoy time with my family and just kind of relax and take it all in. Tuesday was a lot of fun. I thought Tuesday was the best day of baseball of the three. But the time I woke up on Wednesday morning, I was itching for Phillies baseball. And by the time Thursday rolled around, where we saw 3 of 4 game threes for the first time ever, a team that lost game 1 of the wild card round ended up winning the series and going to the DS. The New York Yankees did that late last night. But after the Dodgers beat the Reds and did it in pretty convincing fashion, my fan agita started acting up. My want for this series to happen started to kick in. And I walked into the PHLY studios this morning and I turned to Andrew Frazier and I said, God, I wish they were playing tonight. I wish game 1 was tonight, and I understand that there had to be the travel day built in case the series went to 3 games and the Dodgers and the Reds had to play last night. But now knowing that they didn't, God, I wish they played tonight because I don't want to sit around. And because at least for the last couple of nights, like while the Phillies didn't play, there was a lot of really meaningful baseball being played. Tuesday, all 4 of those games were a lot of fun. I thought the Tigers and the Guards on Wednesday was a fun game until the Guardians busted it open. Last night, 2 rookies take the mound for the Red Sox and the Yankees, and Cam Schlittler was unbelievable. But the last 3 nights, there was a lot of fun baseball to be had. And so it kind of took my mind off of the Phillies not playing, even with the Dodgers waiting in the wings and probably sitting in their hotel room right now. Maybe they're watching this show. If you are, But today I woke up and I wish there was baseball to be played. There's no games tonight. This is the first time since the day after the All-Star game where there was not a single baseball game to be played. Get me to 6:38 tomorrow afternoon. All right, let's get into this game. I think that there are a lot of similarities between these two teams. I don't think there's a lot of mystery between these two teams. You have seen these two teams on display for the better part of the last 3 seasons. The Dodgers won the World Series last year. The Phillies were within a win away of making the World Series in 2023 and played in the World Series in 2022. There is not a lot of intrigue behind the mask, right? There is no masquerade for what these two teams do well and what they don't do well. But here's what's coming up on the PHLY Phillies podcast over the next 50 minutes or so. We are going to break down exactly how the Phillies win this series. Inversely, we'll talk about how the Dodgers would walk out of Citizens Bank Park and perhaps go to Dodger Stadium and win this series on their own, and we'll finish this thing up. We're putting feet to the fire. We are giving you our X factors, and we are giving our predictions for this series at the end of the show. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast. We are brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Now, before we dive into the X factors, I want to welcome our second member of today's program into the show. I don't often do one-sided monologue soliloquies like that, but I felt like the moment called for it. I felt like the occasion was in need of a those hype video type monologues. Now, I'm not the hype guy. If you're asking for somebody to be the hype guy, I'm not that dude. But I felt like it was necessary. So it really wasn't an open-ended conversation here. So I will open up the conversation to our producer, our co-host, our buddy Ethan Hartley, on the eve of this NLDS. After a slew of a lot of fun baseball games that we got to just sit back and watch. I don't need your prediction yet. I don't want your X factors yet. I just want to know how you feeling.
I'm feeling pretty good. I think I was talking to you yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was saying how, at first it felt like, the Dodgers are above all. It's felt that way for a while, unfortunately, where so much money is just getting pumped in. It's like one guy after one guy just like plugging in all the holes, and it's like
it's a legitimate lineup.
Yeah, it's just
from
like,
top to bottom.
It's mind blowing, and to even have the seeding advantage to this point in time, I mean, was surely not something a lot of people could predict. The fact that they would still have holes after a full season played is probably not something a lot of people would have expected. So going into the postseason, I think I'm definitely feeling a lot better. I'm feeling that it is more wide open. And to your point, I'm more on board that I think this is the World Series matchup of sorts where it's the two best teams ultimately facing off in the postseason. And I'm feeling a lot better.
I want to say this because I've seen this, and again, when I have these types of conversations, these aren't pot shots at our counterparts in like sports radio and things like that. I understand doing 20 hours of radio over the week is hard to do. I did it for a long time. Coming up with 20 hours of content over 5 days, making it intriguing, is difficult. And sometimes it's an unenviable position because at some point you're just naturally going to say something that pisses off half of your listening audience. But I have seen a lot of like the question marks of either, are you scared of the Dodgers? And then the inverse being like, well, the quote unquote, if you're scared, get a dog type scenario. I think we need to live somewhere in the middle where it's like, I have an objective respect for this Dodgers team because I know that they got healthy at the right time. Their starting pitching is healthy. I know that their lineup from top to bottom can rake, especially against left-handed pitching. And I also know that their bullpen has been a mess over the last couple of weeks and the last month or so. So I think there has to be some middle ground between I feel confident that the Phillies can win this series. And I think, and we're going to get into that in the second segment, like it's a pretty straightforward ask for the Phillies with our three keys to win this series. There's a reason this team won 96 games. There's a reason this team won the division going away. There's a reason that this team is playing games 1 and 2 down the street and not at Chavez Ravine. Because they're a really good baseball team. And I also inversely can sit here and say, so are the Dodgers. And their pathway to beat the Phillies is pretty straightforward as well. And we'll do that on the other side. It's the PHLY Phillies Podcast. We're brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We're broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge. I want to say hello to everybody in the chat really quickly before we move on. Molly and Barkley's Life and Futz, Provolone John, Frank Barber, and everybody that's hanging out with us this afternoon, I should say at this point. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are as excited as I am for the NLDS tomorrow. And a reminder, pre-game show tomorrow, sometime in the 6:15-ish range. We'll go for about 15 or 20 minutes leading you up to first pitch. And then an hour post-game show after the game. It'll be me, Bill Matz, Pat Egan, and Ethan Hartley will be here with us producing and jumping in as well. So the four of us will be here for an hour after the post-game to break it all down, win or lose. We'll be here. If it's a win, we'll probably have some fun. If it's a loss, I'm sure Pat Egan and Bill Matz are going to scream into the ether, and we'll see how that goes. But on the other side, we're going to get into how do the Phillies win this series. And again, I think it's a very straightforward pathway in order to do it. Later in the show, we'll talk about the inverse, how do the Dodgers win this series, and then we are going to give our X factors for both the Phillies and the Dodgers and our predictions at the end of the show. It's the PHLY Phillies Podcast. We're brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. We are broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge, and we will be right back after this. All right, you only have a little bit of time left to wait, but if you're thinking about postseason baseball, college football tomorrow, pro football on Sunday, if you call yourself a big fan, don't get caught with a big fail. You need Xfinity to watch all of the games. You don't want lagging or buffering or switching between apps, trying to find the game that you're looking for. Xfinity becomes the ultimate sports destination. Whether it's for baseball, pro football, college football, you'll find all the best games and your favorite teams all in one place, and the way that you watch becomes next level. It's the perfect fan flex. You get all of the action right in your living room. Plus, with Xfinity's enhanced 4K sound and unbelievable picture, it's going to feel like you're at the ballpark or the stadium anyway, and you don't have to pay all those expensive concession and parking fees. Sometimes you can get 4 games going at once because why not? You might as well, right? And on top of that, you get real-time notifications and live stats right on your TV. It is the best seat in the house every single time. Next game day, make sure that big fan in your life isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. All right, let me tell you about our friends over at Bet365. Find out why 90 million users worldwide have tagged in with Bet365. You can check out 780,000 live streamed events across 78 different sporting platforms every single year. And you can get in with the pioneers of live in-game betting. Lines change all the time. Myself, in Game 2 in LA a couple of days ago, Cincinnati jumped out to the 2-0 lead. Bet365 offered me the Dodgers at +1.5. Boom, I took that. Come on. I think we all knew the Dodgers were going to win the game. I took the Dodgers plus 1.5. I probably could have taken the money line and I would have felt fine. But you can get in on all of the live action as the lines change throughout the game. And how about this? New users right now, use the promo code PHLY, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you'll get $200 back in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. You can use those bonus bet monies on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and so much more. You find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Pardon me. Welcome back to the PHLY Phillies Podcast. Tyler Zulli, Ethan Hartley, and hello to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Let's get into the 3 keys to how the Phillies win this series. And I'm going to continue to say it until the series either goes the way I expect or I hope, and the way that maybe we don't hope, and that would be how the Dodgers win the series. But it is a very simplistic formula to how the Phillies win this series. Here are my 3 keys to the Phillies winning this series today. Key number 1, get to the Dodgers bullpen. Key number 2, starting rotation has to shove. And key number 3, absolutely no hero ball from this team. We'll talk more about it on the other side. Let's jump into key number 1. This is an obvious, right? This has been the talking point for several weeks now for the Dodgers. We know how good the Dodgers starting rotation is. It's really, really good, and it's healthy for the first time. I know Blake Snell only threw a handful of games. I know Shohei Ohtani only threw a handful of games this year due to injury, but this pitching rotation is really good and it's healthy at the right time. Shohei Ohtani, who's going to pitch game 1, he's rested. He didn't have to pitch in the wild card round, and he's healthy really for the first time all season. He's made 11 starts. Now he's kind of full tilt. Now he is ready to roll, and I don't think there's going to be a pitch count limit. Rich Hoffman and I talked about the last time that the Dodgers threw Shohei Ohtani against the Phillies. He was pulled after 5 no-hit innings. He had only thrown 68 pitches because they were continuing to monitor his pitch count. Now, flash forward to a couple weeks later, his last start out against the Diamondbacks, he threw 91 pitches. Prior to that, his season high was 87. I would expect a similar number for Ohtani, somewhere in that 90 to 95 pitch range, assuming things are going well for him. So, how do you get to the Dodgers bullpen? Well, you make Shohei Ohtani, you make Blake Snell, you make Yoshinobu Yamamoto, you make Tyler Glasnow, if he's going to make a start in this series, throw a lot of pitches, which, of course, is easier said than done, but you have to make these guys work. You have to get into the bullpen after 5. You have to find a way to force them to make decisions, to force Dave Roberts to make critical decisions on how to get the 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 outs in between the starter and apparently now Roki Sasaki's their closer and he's throwing 100 and his splitter is filthy and it is what it is. But you have to find a way to get into this bullpen at a timely fashion. Because if you let them get to Sasaki with limited amount of other pitchers, that means that their starter, either Ohtani or Snell or Yamamoto, gave them at least 6 good innings, and they had the ability to turn to guys that Dave Roberts trusts, like Alex Vesia, like Henriquez, like Dreyer. And it's not having to go to Trinan or Robleski, who's been okay, and it's not having to turn to starters converted to relievers. Now, he may still do that. He still may deploy those guys because they're his best arms, like an Emmett Sheehan or a Tyler Glasnow. But the guys that I think that he inherently trusts are the guys towards the back end of the bullpen and Alex Vesia, his lefty. The guys that he has the ability to bridge the gap between the starter and Roki Sasaki at the back end of the bullpen. So how do the Phillies do that? They run up pitch counts. This is an opportunity to be selectively aggressive. It's an opportunity, if you're going to get a good pitch in a good spot early in the at-bat, you have to go after it. Because if you let a mistake pitch go by, that's where Ohtani's going to beat you. That's where Snell's going to beat you. That's where good starters bury you when they jump ahead in the count. But if you're not getting your pitch in your spot, whether it's middle in or up and away or whatever your pitch is, whatever you believe your belt-high fastball type location is, See some pitches, work some counts. You have to be comfortable hitting with 2 strikes. I understand that the numbers for everybody across baseball go way down when you get to 2 strikes. The average amongst hitters in baseball over the last couple of years with 2 strikes is sub 200. I understand that it is a hard task to hit with 2 strikes, but you have a couple of guys in your lineup that you're confident can hit with 2 strikes. You're confident in Kyle Schwarber. You're actually really confident in Bryson Stott hitting with 2 strikes. I think at the top of the lineup, you feel good with an at-bat with Harper and Turner. And so these guys have to be able to see some pitches if they're not getting his pitch in their location. Which brings me to the 2 guys that it's going to be the most difficult ask to do. Alec Boehm and Nick Castellanos. I need those 2 guys to understand time, space, and the situation at hand to know if they're going to be able to go after a first pitch or not. Are you the leadoff hitter in an inning? Maybe think about taking a pitch. Did the guy in front of you only see 1 or 2 pitches? Maybe think about taking a pitch. Is it runners on first and third with nobody out? Maybe think about going after the pitch that's meant for you, and if you don't get it, you get a fastball that burns the outer edge or a slider back over the plate. That's not your pitch. Don't go chase it. Nick Castellanos, I need you to be focused. If you're going up against the lefty, like you will against Blake Snell, probably in Game 2, I need you to understand that you're not going to get a lot of pitches in the zone. You're going to get a lot of changeup down and away. For if you're facing a righty late in the game, you're going to get breaking ball down and away. That's just how this is going to work. So if you have the ability to run the pitch counts of Shohei Ohtani, Blake Snell, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto up, that is the easiest way to get into the bullpen. Now, of course, that's easier said than done, especially against a guy like Shohei Ohtani, who has a propensity to pound the strike zone and go right after you. Shohei Ohtani is throwing 53% of his pitches this season in the zone, and 63% of the time he's throwing a first pitch strike. Both of those are career highs. He's getting after hitters early in counts and going right after them because he can, because he throws 100, because his breaking stuff is good, because he throws 5 or 6 or 7 different pitches in any given game. He has the ability to do that. But if Shohei Ohtani is going to leave something over the plate, that's the chance that is the opposite of this conversation, where he's given up 10 hits on 17 first pitch batted balls this season. It's a small sample size, admittedly, but it's a .588 average. So if you are getting your first pitch that you know that you can drive against Shohei Ohtani, you go take advantage, because guys are doing a ridiculously good job of seeing first pitch and going after it when they get the pitch that they like. 10 of 17 is absurd. If you don't get that pitch, especially if the first pitch is off the outer black or down and in or a breaking ball, see some pitches. Run the pitch count up, get him into the 80s and into the 90s after 5 innings or 5+, and force Dave Roberts to go to his bridge guys, force him to go to his middle relief. Because as we said, the bullpen has not been good at times this year. Adding Roki Sasaki to the back end of the bullpen is a dangerous weapon for Dave Roberts. That's 3 outs that he feels comfortable getting, and it's probably 3 outs that you're not going to get back. But the outs between the starters and Roki Sasaki are where you have to get after the bullpen. They gave up 5 earned runs in 4 1/3 innings out of the pen against the Reds. Pardon me. So the ability to grind out at-bats is going to be situationally key, because the Phillies, as we know, are one of the best teams in baseball at getting after bullpens. They have the 6th best batting average in the 7th inning this season. They have the best batting average in baseball, a .279 average in the 8th inning of games this year. And as a whole, in the 7th inning or later, they have the 3rd best average, the 4th best OBP, and the best slugging and OPS in all of baseball from the 7th on. If you're going to stay in this game, especially with what we consider probably to be some really, really good starting pitching matchups, you have to be able to get after this team's bullpen, but you have to get to the bullpen first, and the way you do that is to run pitch counts up. Key number 2, Your starting rotation shoves. And I use this phrase specifically because this is what the Phillies have used all year long to get to this point. I know there's no Zach Wheeler. That's a huge loss. But the other three guys that you trust, your three lefties, Sanchez, Luzardo, and Suarez, have to be able to give you as much length as they possibly can in this series because they've been excellent for basically the entirety of the season. The trio as a whole has given up just 192 earned runs in 543 innings pitched. That is a 3.18 ERA for three starters combined. That's unbelievable. Two of those guys have flirted with sub-2 ERA or sub-3 ERAs, and Christopher Sanchez finished at 2.5 this season. These guys are your workhorses. These guys are the reason that you're here, and you have the ability to really take some length out of the Dodgers lineup by your starters getting into the sixth, perhaps getting into the seventh, and giving you quality starts. Sanchez and Luzardo this season have both finished within the top 10 of strikeouts. Luzardo finished 4th, Sanchez finished 6th. Only Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet, and Logan Webb have more strikeouts this year than Jesus Luzardo. And to think about this, Zach Wheeler finished 14th in Major League Baseball in strikeouts, and he hasn't pitched in a month and a half. That's how good this starting rotation has been all season long. Christopher Sanchez has 2 starts against the Dodgers this year. He has given up 8 earned runs, but that's the guy that you're going to turn to get you into the 6th and perhaps beyond in Game 1. Jesus Luzardo in 2 starts against the Dodgers, 14 innings pitched, just the 4 earned runs. It's a 2.57 ERA. You know these two guys are going to be able to get the strikeout pitch working, especially when Luzardo gets the sweeper going off the righty's back foot, and Sanchez uses the changeup down and away to those right-handed hitters. It's not going to be easy. The Dodgers have one of the best offenses when it comes to facing left-handed pitching. They are tied for first with the Yankees with 70 home runs this year against lefties. Their 201 RBI are 8th best in baseball. They're in the top 8 in average, 255, that's 7th. Slugging, 446, that's 2nd. Only the Yankees were better. And a 764 OPS is 3rd against lefties. Only the Yankees and the Tigers were better. This team is difficult to get out when it comes to facing left-handed pitching, but those 3 guys are the guys you're going to trust. Those 3 guys are the guys that got you here. Those 3 guys are going to take the mantle from Zach Wheeler and hopefully run with it for a long postseason stretch, and you need them to be the workhorses that they've been all season long. Key number 3 to winning this series, no hero ball. And I put those periods in between to really emphasize this. This kind of plays in tandem with key number 1. There is no need to try to hit a 5-run home run every time you step up to the plate. There is no need to try to change the outcome of the game and deposit one 500 feet into the bleachers because you think you can. Let the game come to you. Take what it gives you. Play smart, situational baseball. Take the extra bag when it's there for you, but don't be stupid on the bases. You have an asset on the base pass with guys like, hopefully, Trey Turner, with guys like Bryson Stott, with Harrison Bader. If Edmundo Sosa is going to play second base in the start against Blake Snell, he's another guy who has the ability to run the bases. Be smart on the bases, but be fundamentally sound, but be aggressive when it calls for it. And that is kind of how you're going to pass the baton one guy to the next. Do not feel the need to change the game with one swing of the bat. Your power hitters will do that. Kyle Schwarber will do that. Bryce Harper, in big moments, has proven he can do it. He is one of the best postseason hitters ever. And I hope that he does it again in this series and into a long postseason run for the0Phillies. You have the ability in front of you to play smart, situational baseball, but not play outside of the scope of yourself. This is the deepest the Phillies lineup has been in a really long time. Guys like Harrison Bader can continue to swing a hot bat. If Max Kepler gets the start and right, which I would expect that he would in Game 1 against Shohei Ohtani. If Bryson Stott can have the ability to turn the lineup over as a natural 9-hole hitting second baseman, that brings you back to the top of your lineup. That brings you back to Turner and Harper and Schwarber and the guys that are going to be your table setters. You have the ability to stretch out this Dodgers pitching staff because of the depth of your lineup. Make a Dodgers starter go from, 28 pitches after 2 to 50 after 3 because you forced him to throw a ton of high-stress situation pitches, and you scratched out a run, but you were able to make them throw a ton of pitches, make them get into their bullpen early. But do not play outside of the scope of yourself. Play within yourself, and don't play hero ball. All right, that's our 3 keys to how the Phillies win this series. Now, before we hit the break, Ethan, anything you'd like to add to these 3 keys? Because I said it at the beginning of the show, and I think it was pretty straightforward when I laid it out. These are not earth-shattering keys. These are not Tyler struck gold in the middle of nowhere keys. These are super surface level. But I think when you're as good as the Phillies are, and you're facing a team as good as the Dodgers are, playing within yourself and doing the fundamentally sound things fundamentally sound are how you win this type of series. Anything you'd like to add?
No, not at all. I think you absolutely hit the nail on the head in terms of trying to stretch out the starters and force Dave Roberts to play his hand and put guys out there who he's not as confident in spots that they might not be as comfortable in or used to. And again, just force them to be uncomfortable. And, all it takes is one pitch just to, let it get away from you.
I think that this is jump on a mistake, right? You saw on Wednesday night. Now, the Reds weren't able to win the game, but Teoscar Hernandez drops the fly ball in the first inning. Reds pounce for 2 runs. Now, the Dodgers were able to come back and win that game because they're the better team. If the Dodgers make a mistake like that defensively against the Phillies, do they have the ability to come back against this team compared to the 83-win Reds? The inverse is true. Play fundamentally sound. Do not provide this Dodgers team with extra outs or extra motivation. If you have the ability to take a sure out instead of trying to turn a wonky double play, take the force out at second. Live to fight another at bat. Live to fight another sequence. Live to fight another inning. I think moving up the extra base is going to be key. Situational offense is going to be key. If you have a runner on third with less than 2 outs, sac flies are going to play importance in this game. I think runs are going to come at a premium in this series. You're very likely going to see pitching matchups of Sanchez Ohtani, Snell Lizardo, Yamamoto, and Ranger Suarez. Those are 3 really good pitching matchups that you're probably going to get on hand over the next couple of nights. Runs are going to be at a premium. The team that blinks first is going to be the team that loses a game, and the team that blinks multiple times is going to be the team that loses the series. It's very straightforward as to how they win this series, but I do think inversely, and we'll talk about this on the other side, it's pretty straightforward how the Dodgers can win it as well. All right, it's the PHLY Phillies podcast. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll get into the 3 keys on how the Dodgers would win this series, and then we, at the end of the show, are going to give you our X factors and our predictions in this series. And yes, Stephen Paul, thanks so much. Really appreciate you. We will have extra coverage for this postseason run. Hopefully it's a long postseason run. Last year, we didn't have a lot of fun on postgame shows. I'm not going to lie to you. It was not fun. It was just despondent and kind of bleh. So hopefully we have a much longer postseason run ahead. It's the PHLY Phillies podcast. We are broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge, and we'll be right back after this. All right, listen, fall's here. You've got crisp air, football, postseason baseball, maybe a bonfire or 2. But if you're like most guys, you're still putting in the hard work. It's a long day, and by the time you get home, maybe you're sweaty, maybe you've got some odor, maybe you stink a little bit. You know that feeling. You do the little quick test, and you hope nobody sees because you're hoping to not embarrass yourself. But you know that maybe it's a little bit late for you to have put some deodorant on. But with Mando, you're never going to have to worry about that because regular deodorant doesn't cut it. But Mando does. They're the real game changer with deodorant plus sweat control. It's not just another cover-up. It comes in stick form. It comes in spray form. And it does 2 jobs. It keeps powerful odor out, and it helps you control your sweat. The real game changer, though, that's sweat control. It doesn't just cover you up, and it actually stops the odor before it even starts. No more masking, just freshness. It comes in clinical strength sweat control. 1 swipe, and you are good to go. It offers premium ingredients, double protection. It tackles both odor and sweat. And with Mando's starter pack, it's perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, like perhaps a mini body wash and a deodorant wipe, and free shipping. And as a special offer for us PHLY listeners, new customers right now, get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive promo code PHLY. So once again, use that code PHLY at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. Shopmando.com, that's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support not only the show, but Mando as well, and tell them that we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. All right, while we're here, let me tell you about our friends over at Game Time. You know those postseason tickets are coming in, and if you want to get the most authentic, up-to-date pricing on postseason tickets, you have to get them via the Game Time app because they give you the advantage back to you, the fans, right? Because that's what they do. And with postseason baseball right around the corner, you know that people are going to try to up the prices. But with Game Time, you're going to be able to find incredible offers. And if you find one better, they're going to offer you 110% of the difference. And the best thing about Game Time, in my opinion, if you're heading to CBP or maybe you're going to hit the road, you're traveling to LA and you've never been to Dodger Stadium before, you don't want to get stuck behind a foul pole or an obstructed view or with a seat in the corner of the stadium. You can use the 3D seat map to see exactly where your seats are going to be before you end up purchasing those tickets. So there's no surprises when you end up getting to the stadium. And they provide you with incredible coverage, whether it's job loss protection, event cancellation policies. Game Time wants to work with you to make sure that you are covered, not just through the ticketing buying process, but through the entire experience of going to that game or that concert or that comedy event or whatever it might be. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets, especially with MLB tickets, with our friends over at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code PHLY for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Game Time today. All right, welcome back to the PHLY Phillies Podcast. Tyler Zulli here. Ethan Hartley producing today's show. And our friends, thank you so much for being part of the chat. Question. PFAM asks, a little off topic, but if we call Kyle Schwarber homers Schwarbombs, how come we don't call Harper home runs Harpoons? They are usually daggers after all. So you're probably asking the wrong guy because I'm like no fun when it comes to baseball. I don't mind celebrating and I don't mind showmanship and things like that. But I am not like a nicknames guy. I'm not come up with catchy nicknames for plays and things like that. That's just not a me thing. But you could probably ask Jamie Lynch. He'll have the answer for you. He loves that kind of stuff. And I know what Jamie Lynch loves. Our head of content here is from our super chat from Frank Barber. Frank, appreciate you. So did you see the 999 challenge box the Phillies put out for the postseason? I did. And I'm going to say two things about the 999 challenge. First and foremost, sounds miserable. Not even going to lie to you. And it's not the beer thing. Like, I'm kind of a lightweight when it comes to drinking. I always have been. 9 beers probably is too many for me. 9 beers, quite frankly, is probably too many for most people. But anyway, the 9 beers I don't think is the problem. The 9 hot dogs, Ethan, I don't think anyone should eat 9 hot dogs in a day, period, let alone in a 3-hour setting.
I don't even need
I don't know if you should eat 9 hot dogs in a year, quite honestly.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Now, this is not me getting up on like my health box soapbox here, but like hot dogs are disgusting. I hate hot dogs. I think they're nasty. But I don't know if anybody should eat 9 hot dogs in a single setting. The second issue that I have with this is it comes in this like big box container. What are you going to do when Kyle Schwarber hits a home run? You're going to like hold it over your head like a boom box? Because you can't drop it. You put it on the floor, it's going to get stepped on.
Be a pretty big mitt.
What's that?
To catch the ball?
Yeah, but then your hot dogs are destroyed and you got beer all over you.
I think that'd be worth it.
If you bought the 999 challenge and you get hit with a home run and beer spills all over everybody in the seats, you're going to be the biggest idiot in the stands. Everybody's going to hate you. So if you're going to do this, you have to do it. I think you almost have to do it standing room. Like if you got standing room tickets, I think you can do it. But if you've got a seat, especially like the seats underneath the first sections underneath the awning, they get tight up top. They get really tight up top. And like, I've sat there before, and I've sat like this for like a half a game because you're just like, everybody's trying to move around, right? You're eating, you're drinking, you're having fun, you're celebrating the game. I'm out on the 999 challenge. But yeah, I have no interest. Could you? Now let me ask you, Ethan. Do you think you could do it?
Absolutely not.
No,
and I
is
would
it the hot dogs or the
never
beer?
want to. Honestly, both.
Yeah.
I don't drink that
I know
often.
you said you're not a big drinker.
And I hate hot dogs. That's like one of the one things that I've maybe only had like one my entire life.
Sure.
And just the one thing that is the least appealing of all. I would never.
Frank
I would not
follows
touch it
up
with
and
the
said
10-foot
his
pole.
Cubs fan, his buddy who's a Cubs fan, did it this summer and felt bad for like 3 weeks. Yeah, your stomach's going to be a mess.
I'd feel that for like a year.
Yeah, your stomach's going to be a disaster. You're going to feel like you've got like endless burps. Like hot dog burps are nasty. Yeah, it's going to be, let's not get too much into it. It's going to be disgusting. I'm out on the 999 challenge. I think it's comical. Like when you see a YouTube short or something on it, but I am out on the 999 challenge. All right. Let's get into the 3 keys for the Dodgers. And really I guess we're a Phillies podcast. We probably shouldn't call it 3 keys to the Dodgers. It's probably like the 3 things the Phillies should look to stop if they're looking to win this series. Key number 1, Mookie Betts keeps rolling. Key number 2, you'll notice it's the exact same phrasing as key number 2 for the Phillies because this is an elite starting pitching matchup. If the starting pitching shoves for the Dodgers, they're going to feel really good. And then key number 3 is the other guys. Not Mookie Betts, not Freddie Freeman, not Shohei Ohtani, not Teoscar Hernandez. The other 5 guys that are going to start in the lineup for the Dodgers. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. Let's start with key number 1, stopping Mookie Betts. This has been a really weird year for Mookie Betts. Like, for somebody that I myself believe is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I myself believe is one of the best hitters in all of baseball, one of the best players in all of baseball. Like, if you ask Mookie Betts just, hey, man, we need you to go catch, will you do it? He'd probably do it because he's transitioned from an outfielder to a second baseman, back to an outfielder, to being a shortstop, and everywhere he goes, his defensive WAR is positive. The guy's just an unbelievable baseball player. If I had 9 Mookie Betts, I would win the World Series. I firmly believe that. He would figure out a way to be a good pitcher. But if I had 9 Mookie Betts in my lineup, you would win the World Series every single year. But it's been a weird year for him. His barrel rates are down. His hard hit percentages are down. His average exit velocity is down. They're actually almost all near career lows because he had a really, really bad start to the year. Here are his batting averages for the first 4 months of the season. 232, 258, 240, and 205. Excuse me, I can't shake this cough, man. But then in August, he hit 288. In September, he hit 299. And since the beginning of September, he has 34 hits, including 6 in the series against the Reds. Whatever he's reignited over the last couple of months and into the wild card round, I think it's going to be an incredible catalyst because we know how good of a hitter he is. And when you sandwich him between Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, those 3 guys, and Teoscar Hernandez at 4, those 4 guys are run production waiting to happen. If you are a bettor of no-run first inning, you really don't want to bet against the Dodgers. You don't want to bet against the Phillies either, quite frankly. Their numbers are really good in the first inning. But you really don't want to bet against the Dodgers in the first inning because if you don't get settled as a starting pitcher right away, those 4 guys can make it 2-0 in the blink of an eye. Shohei leads off, sets the tone. Mookie Betts follows up. Freddie Freeman, the ultimate doubles machine. He's a menace. Like, I don't think I'd want to face Freddie Freeman. Like, he's just the type of dude that has a plan for everything. And he goes up and he just fouls pitches off and fouls pitches off and fouls pitches off until he gets the pitch that he wants. And then he smokes a double into the gap and you look up and a run scored and Freddie Freeman's doing their little Dodgers dance. This top 4 is nasty. And so I think Mookie Betts is the key to all of it because Teoscar Hernandez is a playoff fiend. Like, he's a demon in the postseason. You saw it in the Red Series. Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani are as consistent as they come. If Mookie Betts stays hot, I mean, stifling him is going to be a massive, massive part of this, especially considering for the fact that the Phillies pitching has done a good job against Shohei Ohtani in his career, especially the lefties. They, it's a lot in. They make him uncomfortable. They go fastball in on the hands, and then they'll run the breaking ball down and away to strike him out. So if you can continue to mitigate Ohtani, and you do a good job with Mookie Betts, you're 2/3 of the way through that first critical inning. I think Mookie Betts is the key to stopping the Dodgers offense. Key number 2 is this starting rotation. It's kind of plays into key number 1 for the Phillies. It's the same exact second key as what the Phillies had. It's not a cop-out, though. It's the truth. This rotation is as good, if not better, than the Phillies rotation, especially without Zach Wheeler. Shohei Ohtani, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and Blake Snell this season combined for a 2.52 ERA. They struck out 335 batters in 282 innings pitched. Yoshinobu Yamamoto finished 5th in strikeouts per 9 with a 10.4, and if Snell and Ohtani qualified, that would have been the worst of the 3. Snell was 10.6, Ohtani 11.9. Now, I get it. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the only one who finished a full season, and in fact, Blake Snell and Shohei Ohtani combined didn't pitch a full season's worth of games, but they're healthy at the right time, and they're dominating. This is a really good starting rotation, and if they thrive, if they pitch into the 6th routinely, if you see like Blake Snell pitch 7 against the Reds, if they're pitching into the 7th, it's going to become a really difficult task for the Phillies to get after this Dodgers starting rotation if they're cruising. You saw it when they faced them the last time. Now, the Phillies took 2 out of 3, but Shohei Ohtani, five no-hit innings. Blake Snell, double-digit strikeouts. This is a really good pitching staff, and you have to get after them early and start run up a pitch count, because otherwise you might be in trouble. You know, you're running out of outs very, very quickly. The third key, and I think this is really paramount to the Phillies' success, is stopping the other guys. Andy Pages, Max Muncy, Tommy Edmonds, Kike Hernandez. And I'll even throw Will Smith into this conversation because he's the ultimate wild card, because I don't know how he's going to perform when he comes back or when he comes back. I assume the theory was he'll probably be back for the time for the NLDS, so we'll see how he performs. But the rest of these guys, like the group after Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Teo, it's going to be critical to stopping them. Andy Pages in the series against the Reds was 0 but there is a ton of pop in his bat. 27 home runs for him this year. A bulk of them did come against righties. He hit 24 of his 27 home runs off of righties, but he hit 313 against left-handed pitching. You're going to see 3 lefties, very likely, in Sanchez, Luzardo, and Suarez. He's a really good average against those lefties, even if the power maybe fell off a little bit. So can he be a guy that you can neutralize against left-handed pitching? Max Muncy's another interesting question, because he was limited to just 100 games this year, but the pop is still there. He had 19 home runs and just over 300 at-bats. He doesn't chase. He hits the ball hard more times than not. Now, the intrigue will be how many at-bats does he get if the Phillies do throw a lefty-heavy lineup, because he hit 157 against left-handed pitching this year. And then the final guy, I feel like this dude is just like Chris Evans, Captain America, where the Dodgers just like unthaw him from the ice when they need him most, which is postseason time, is Kike Hernandez. This dude hits like 210 all year. And then come postseason time, he's a superhero. All he does is hit in the postseason. You've seen it for years now. All the guy does in the postseason is hit. It's like, you know, the break in case of emergency glass box here. Well, it's break in case of postseason, and superhero Kike Hernandez arrives. This guy, all he does is hit in the postseason. And he's a difficult out when the playoffs roll around. When the lights are the brightest, Kike Hernandez shines. He's a really, really good player, even if his season average doesn't tell you that. And then it's the auxiliary pieces of who's going to play in particular matchups. Does Alex Call play? Does Tommy Edmonds play a bunch? How much does Muncy play? Like, this is a really deep lineup, and it's a really good team, and it's the reason why this team, like, I think that a lot of Phillies fans may be starting to forget how good the Dodgers are, A, because they didn't play as well as we maybe expected them to at the beginning of the season, B, because the Phillies had the bye and the Dodgers didn't, and C, because the Phillies have played well against the Dodgers over the last couple of 2 regular seasons. They were 5-1 last year. They were 4-2 this year. This is a team that won 93 games. They finished 3 games behind the Phillies. Not a lot separating these two teams. Very similar teams in terms of how they're structured. I think the bullpens are probably massive X factors. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But these are two really good teams, and I do truly believe that these are the two best teams left in baseball. And this is going to be, as the phrase that Bill Matz likes to use a lot, it's going to be a rock fight. You know, and whoever blinks first, I think is going to be the team that loses this series. All right, let's pause. On the other side, we're going to get into our X factors, and we will officially get into our NLDS predictions. It's the PHLY Phillies Podcast. We're broadcasting live from the Xfinity Lounge. We'll be right back after this. All right, listen, if your home needs a little TLC or you're thinking about taking that dream vacation, maybe even to hit the road to LA perhaps for Games 3 and Game 4, listen up. TrueMark Financial has you covered with a HELOC Select, and it just gets even better. The rates have just dropped, making it more affordable than ever to put your home equity to work. If you need a new kitchen, you need big repairs, maybe you got to knock off some of your student loan debt or whatever other debt that you have. With a HELOC Select, you can access your cash all at once or just when you need it with total flexibility, just like having a good game plan. Make it happen today. Visit one of TrueMark's 24 branches or go online 24/7 at TrueMark.com/PHLY and get in the game today. Federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender, NMLS number 404938. All right, let's tell you about our friends over at Shady Rays. Sorry, I lost my spot for a second, Ethan. I apologize. Tell you about my friends over at Shady Rays. I've been rocking my Shady Rays for years now. And why do I do it? It's because I wear them with confidence. I wear them at the amusement park, at the beach, the boardwalk. I take them into concerts with me where the pit opens up and you get beat up. Why? Because if I lose them, they get broken, they get damaged. Well, I have the best protection plan in all of eyewear. Every single pair that you buy with Shady Rays is protected with a lost or broken replacement guarantee, even if you lose them on day one. So whether you forget them on the top of your car and you speed off at the gas station and they're gone, or you lose them on the boardwalk, or you're boogie boarding at the Jersey Shore. I know summer's kind of coming to an end. You're getting those last minute waves in, they fall off your face. You don't have to worry about it with my friends over at Shady Rays. Crystal clear optics, durable frames, incredible sleek looks, and they don't break the bank. So head on over to ShadyRays.com, use the promo code PHLY, and you'll get 35% off a pair of polarized sunglasses. Find out for yourself why these shades are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people, including myself. I've been wearing my Shady Rays for years. All right, welcome back to the PHLY Phillies Podcast. Tyler Zula here with you, Ethan Hartley. We got about 10 minutes left, and it is our final regular show podcast until we get you set for the NLDS Game 1. And Frank Barber, you are 1,000,000% correct. The NLDS should go to 7 games. I think 5 games are stupid. This is a 162-game season, and then you're going to truncate it to, well, if you lose Game 1, your back's really, really against the wall. I have no issue with it in the wildcard round. I like the 3 because I think it puts the onus right on you right away to win a Game 1. But I think when you get to the DS, you've got, 8 playoff teams left. For the most part, it's 6 division winners. Or it's 5 division winners at this point, right? It's the Phillies, it's the Dodgers, it's the Brewers, it's the Blue Jays, and it's the Mariners. The only division winner to go home was the Cleveland Guardians. But you've got mostly division winners at this point. You've got teams that separated themselves throughout the year. And then you have a handful of really good wild card teams in, the Tigers, who probably were worse than their first half of the season and better than their second half of the season. And then the Yankees, who, they win 90 some odd games, 95 games or whatever it was. Like, these are good teams. You should be able to dictate this series over 7 games. But let's get to our X factors and our predictions. All right, Ethan, I put together an X factor on both sides of the baseball for both the Phillies and the Dodgers. We'll go 1-to-1. So I'll give you my lineup. You give me your lineup. I'll give you my pitching. You give me your pitching. Here is my X factor for the Phillies lineup. My X factor for the lineup is Alec Bohm. And the reason I chose Alec Bohm is because he was swinging a really hot bat when he came back from the IL on 9/19. He had 17 hits and 8 RBIs since coming back from the IL with that shoulder problem. If he can be a run producer, I expect him to probably hit 4th in the lineup over the postseason. I think that allows the rest of the lineup, especially the lefties down at the bottom of the order against Ohtani and against Yamamoto, to run deeper pitch counts. Allow Bryson Stott to do what he does best and see a lot of pitches. Allow Harrison Bader to to kind of just be the dude that he is, allow Brandon Marsh to see some more pitches down at the bottom of the lineup. Those three lefties paired with, whoever's going to play right, whether it's Kepler or Castellanos, Bader the righty, excuse me, but whoever's going to play right and Bader with Kepler or Castellanos. Like, I think Alec Boehm is a huge piece to the Phillies' offensive success. I expect Kyle Schwarber to hit. I expect Bryce Harper to hit. I still feel good about Trey Turner coming back, even if he doesn't necessarily have the base running prowess. I still feel good with him at the plate. I think Alec Boehm is going to be a huge turning point, especially if he's going to hit fourth in this series.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick to have. I'm going to go. My first thought was Bryce Harper, just in the fact that I felt like last year didn't really show you all that much, and of course it was very disappointing at the very end. Sure. I think I'm going to go probably with Trey Turner for similar reasons, and I think just needing to come back healthy and applying pressure on the bags, I think, is incredibly important in the postseason. Again, as we talked about, one little mistake, who blinks first? If Trey Turner's gets on first, second, and suddenly you have a harder dynamic to deal with than someone else in this lineup, I think that's going to be really important when it comes down to it. So
the question that I think has been asked a lot, and I don't think the Phillies and Rob Thompson shouldn't overthink this. Trey Turner should lead off. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's I know Bader did a really nice job in his stead. Trey Turner should be your leadoff hitter. 100%. It allows everybody to fall naturally, probably where they should. Mm-hmm. And I know the question was asked earlier. Here's my lineup really quickly. Against lefties, I would go, or let's go against righties first because Ohtani's going to start game one. Here is my lineup. Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Boehm. I then think there might be a case to have Max Kepler hit fifth, but I think it's going to be JT Realmuto. But I might go Kepler 5, JT 6, Marsh 7, Bader 8, Stott 9. And I think that may be how they go about it to split up the lefties and the righties. But if they want to move Bader up, I could see that being the case too, because he has swung a really good bat. Against the lefties, top four stays the same. I would then probably go JT 5, Bader 6. I think you're probably still going to have... I would go Bader 6, Casty 7, Sosa 8. And then I guess Marsh is still going to probably play left. Have Marsh hit 9th maybe? Or maybe have Marsh hit 8th and Sosa hit 9th to turn the lineup over. I'm interested to see if Rob Thompson plays Sosa against the lefty, against Snell. But I think the top four is the easy one to predict. I think it's going to be Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Boehm. All right, let's get to the pitching. Now, Ethan, I've said this plenty of times throughout this show. I have the utmost confidence in Sanchez, Luzardo, and in Suarez, which is why the X factor to me is determining which right-handed reliever steps up in big moments. Is it Orion Kerkering? Is it David Robertson? And who do you trust more with inherited runners or a clean inning? And I think we've had this conversation before. I think if it's a clean inning, he's going to turn to Kerkering. If it's inherited runners, he'll probably turn to Robertson. But when the starter exits the game, this is a team that's very right-handed heavy. The Dodgers lineup is very right-handed heavy. How do you bridge the gap from the starter to Duran? And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on David Robertson and on Orion Kerkering. I think this is huge. If those two guys step up and neutralize some of the really good right-handed hitters in the Dodgers lineup, I think those two guys are going to play a huge, huge part in this series. I'm going to go with them as my X factor.
I was going to even say Kerkering is kind of for similar reasons. It's just a guy who's been more reliable in the past and who has kind of teetered off a little bit. I think this is the perfect moment for him to step up and kind of get back on the groove to being a lot more dependable than he's been in the past.
All right, let's pause for a moment. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched on our streaming platforms, our Roku, Samsung, Xfinity. Head on over to allphly.com to watch the rest of the show. We are officially in overtime. Extra innings. Get the graphic made. I'm not talking to you, Ethan. Get the graphic made. It's extra innings. Come on. Extra innings. Anyway, let's get to the Dodgers X factors. I think I probably hinted at it in the last segment. I think the two X factors for now, I was going to say Mookie Betts like 2 weeks ago, because if Mookie Betts got rolling, like, it changes the dynamic. But we know he's hitting now. I think the Dodgers X factor might be Andy Pages. Guy who hits in that 6-7 range, went 0 against the Reds, but he hit almost 30 home runs this year. And I think he's like the forgotten man because of how good the top of their lineup is. If Andy Pages gets going, and especially if he can hit with some power against the left-handed the Phillies starting pitchers, I think he's going to be a big, big factor in this series. I think him and Kike Hernandez are two big parts for the Dodgers lineup.
You and I are just on the same wavelength. I was going to probably say him or Will Smith is just the guy.
Well, I think that means either we're going to look really smart or really stupid together.
Go down with the ship, as they say.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah, him or Will Smith, just someone else who can stretch this lineup outside of the top 4. I mean, he's been incredible all year, but as you pointed to his numbers earlier, there's a little bit more of a dependency for right-handers than left-handers. So it'll be interesting to see. But this lineup at best is obviously when it is most stretched, and 1 through 9 can become really, really lethal and threatening on the plate. I'm
really interested to see how Will Smith comes back, because it was a great year for him. Hit almost 300, OBP over 4, slug almost 5, OPS over 9. In 110 games, he hit 17 home runs. Like, he's that 15 to 25 home run guy that you just know is going to be consistent in the middle portions of your lineup, whether he hits 4th or 5th or 6th. Like, you just know this is a tough out. This dude hits, just all he does is hit, right? But his last game was almost a month ago. It was September 9th against the Rockies. He hasn't played in almost a month. How does he respond? I think if he's healthy and right, it's just another guy, as you brought up, to stretch this Dodgers lineup. Now, their X factor in pitching, I'm going to go to one guy in particular, but I think it could be a handful of guys. I think it's Alex Vesia. I think if Alex Vesia can stifle the Phillies' big lefties, that's a problem for the Phillies, because we know the Dodgers bullpen has had a lot of problems, and getting to Sasaki, who's been nasty as their closer over the last couple of nights, is going to be a difficulty for Dave Roberts. I think Vesia is going to be called upon a lot in this series. There's not going to be any surprises. Like when they turn the order around and it becomes Schwarber 2, Harper 3 in the 6th inning or in the 7th inning, you know who's coming into the game. It's going to be Alex Vesia. And how many times can he pitch in a 5-game series, and what does he provide? He's a big, like 2 or 3 out-getter for this team against the Phillies lineup.
Yeah, I'm going to say probably Roki Sasaki or Tanner Scott. For Scott, someone who's got paid a humongous contract and has really, really dropped the ball.
Time to step up.
Yeah, they really got to close up the back end, especially in games earlier in the regular season, the Orioles game where they just had a no-hitter through all but 1 out and then just totally dropped the ball. Like, stuff like that I think definitely needs to be cleaned up, because in the postseason, that's obviously going to completely kill you. You're going to lose the game, lose the series outright from that. So I think having those back-end issues closed up would be really huge for them.
All right. We've danced around it long enough. It's time, Ethan. We got to go on record. Remember, it's the internet. This lasts forever. This lasts forever. I'm going to let you go first. Phillies-Dodgers 5-game series. The winner of this series will be, and in how many games?
I'm gonna go the Phillies in 5. It's gonna come down to some chaotic mistakes, just nail biters on both ends, and I think this is really going to be stretched out. I truly believe that these are the 2 best teams in the postseason, and it sucks by formatting that they won't be able to see each other in a longer series or even in the championship. So
well, there's you can say, like, there's the old school, like, just win more games.
Yeah.
Like, the Dodgers probably should have won 100 games this year, and they didn't. And, but you're right. I do think, like, in this structure, it's unfortunate. You are going to see probably the 2 most and maybe I use the word best. Maybe they're not the 2 best teams. I think they're the 2 most complete teams.
Yeah. Definitely.
From top to bottom.
Yeah. The 2 teams that, at least if you look at them on paper, it's like these teams are going to blow out.
Molly and Barkley's Life agrees with you. Phil's in 5. I think this series is going 5 as well. I think that would tell you that there should be an advantage to the Phillies, because if they have to come back here for a game 5, they have Citizens Bank Park. They have you in their back pocket. Broad Street Bully says Phil's in 4. I think I will say this. I think if it's a quick series, if it's 3 especially, that tells me the Dodgers caught fire. And I think if it's a short series, it likely leans Dodgers. If it's a longer series, I think it leans Phillies, because I think that's more opportunities for the Dodgers bullpen to play like scapegoat. Frank Barber says Phils in 4. Sophia says Phils in 4. I think it's a 5-game series as well. And I have to be honest with you, I wish the Phillies were playing any other team. I am not afraid of the Dodgers. This isn't a backing down challenge or a backing down feel. I think the Phillies have every possibility to win this series. I think the Dodgers win this series in 5. I hate it. Makes me want to vomit. Makes me scared thinking about it. Not scared again. Not scared. It makes me nauseous thinking about it. But I think that this Dodgers team has gotten healthy and is rolling at the right time. And I do fear that if they are able to split in Philly at Citizens Bank Park, I feel like this is going to be a Dodgers series. Now, if the Phillies win the first 2, then I'm going to be beating my chest about it. But I think if the Phillies don't get after the Dodgers starters in a timely fashion, this series becomes more difficult. I hope I'm wrong, but I think the Dodgers are winning this series. And I think this season's going to end in the NLDS, and we're going to have a lot of questions heading into 2026. All right, next time I talk to you, I'm going to be joined by 2 people that are going to tell me to shut the bleep up when I pick the Dodgers. Ethan, you're a much more professional, objective producer. Because the next time I talk to you, Bill Matz and Pat Egan are going to tell me that I'm a moron and they hate me and they probably may not even want to do post-game show with me. And when they come on and the Phillies win Game 1, by the way, I do think the Phillies are going to win Game 1. I think Christopher Sanchez is going to pitch well, and I do think the Phillies are going to win Game 1. And when they win Game 1, those 2 guys are going to tell me that I'm a moron. But the next time I talk to you is going to be for pregame, right here on PHLY. Me, Bill Matz, Pat Egan, Ethan Hartley producing the show. And we're going to be with you for every pre and post for as long as this postseason run goes. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm taking the Dodgers in 5. I'll talk to you on tomorrow afternoon, let's say 6:15, and we'll talk to you about that time. Coming up next at 1:30, Philadelphia is going to break down this series. He's going to talk about the Eagles and the Broncos. The Eagles at 2, the Sixers at 3, the Flyers at 4, and we get you set for an awesome weekend of Philly sports. I love y'all. I know you hate me right now. I thank you so much for being a part of today's show. I hope you're back tomorrow for the pregame show, and we'll talk to you at 6:15 right here on the PHLY Phillies Podcast. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.